Yo, what it do, Wealth Nation? Listen, y'all know what time it is. It is Friday. It is 7 o'clock a.m. Central Standard Time. So that means it is time for the Cortez Hustle Show, the Black Economic Empowerment Hour version, where we talk all things empowerment for our community. And we're talking specifically today about our children in technology, right? How do we create an environment and a situation where our children can compete globally? Listen, you are not empowering anybody in any area, especially economically, if you are not including the empowerment of our children. I got a special guest on the show today, and she's going to be breaking down her thoughts. She's been in the field of educating and taking responsibilities for doing just that, educating our babies and helping them to become productive citizens, but more importantly, helping them to prepare for a global competition of world dominance, man. Because if y'all don't understand anything about race, right? If you think about what Dr. Claude Anderson talks about, there is a race for world domination, and we are dead last, right, in that race. But that's okay, because the most dramatic races are the ones where the person that's all the way in the back comes trucking, and you see them passing up this person and that person and this person and that person, and they keep moving in and grooving. And when that person that was dead last comes all the way through and starts to lead, man, there's nothing like pulling for an underdog. So do me a favor, as you guys are coming into the room, go ahead, comment in the chat where you're from, drop the name of your business and or your brand. Just do not share any links. Tell us a little bit about you. You never know, guys, there's over 100,000 people following this page. You never know who might want to connect with you. Same thing with you guys on IG. Let us know a little bit about what you do, because even though you can't see what's going on over here in the Facebook and YouTube world, I can still give you a shout out when I see what it is that you got going on over there as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to roll my disclaimer real quick, and then we're going to come back and officially start the show. So y'all make sure y'all keep it locked right here. The Cortez Hustle Show is a copyrighted production of iHustle Media Group. Any unauthorized use of the video, audio, captions, depictions of this show without express written consent of iHustle Media Group is strictly prohibited. iHustle Media Group, a better way to market.
And now back to the Cortez Hustle Show.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Cortez Hustle Show. I'm your host, Cortez Hustle, also known as the one and only financial health mentor, everybody's favorite fatherpreneur from myperfectmoneyplan.com. Listen, guys, if you have not developed a plan that's going to put you in the path to building generational wealth, then you want to go check out myperfectmoneyplan.com. You're going to get a team of experts to help you with your taxes, right? Taxes is your biggest expense. You got to figure out how to legally lower your taxes. Then you got to get out of debt. Then you got to understand the power of improving your personal credit. And we've got a team of professionals that will do that for you. And then also how to invest, especially if you are a solopreneur, if you are a business owner and you do not have a retirement set up, then you might want to talk to our professionals, myperfectmoneyplan.com. If you got 8 minutes to check out a short video, then I think you'll be impressed with what it is that we have going on over there and how we can help you. Angela is in the building. Welcome to the stream this morning, Double A from Single Moms and Money. You guys definitely want to go check her out. So as I stated, one of the things that we have to do if we are going to empower our community economically is focus our attention on the youth, right? There's an old saying that it is easier to give birth than it is to raise the dead, right? And I think a lot of us are trying to raise the dead with dealing with our adult peers, right? Our adult contemporaries, when all we got to do is just focus all our attention in raising the babies right. And when we raise those babies right, then they're going to be in position to do the right things and transform our communities economically. So that's what our focus is. And that's what we have been doing here on the Cortez Hustle Show, as well as the Thornton Online Marketing brand in general, man. We are here to empower people economically through financial literacy with an emphasis on personal brand development and entrepreneurship. And that's our mission. And we do that for children as well as adults. So I'm super excited to introduce to you guys my very special guest for today. She's an educator extraordinaire. She has written a book that we're going to talk heavily about today, but I'm going to bring her on and let her introduce herself to you guys. So let me switch the branding real quick as I prepare to introduce to some and present to others, Madam Jacqueline Makins-Golden. Top of the morning to you, sis. How are you?
I am super great, Cortez. How are you?
I am well. I am glad to have you on the show, man. I think what you are doing is amazing. Being on the front lines in general during this time in our educational system, helping to prepare our babies for their future is very, very commendable. But on top of that, you've written a book, which we'll talk about a little bit later. But tell us who this educator extraordinaire is. Tell us your background, your passion, and what got you to this point so far in life.
Oh, wow. You know what? Sometimes it's so hard for me to talk about myself. That's why I have all my wonderful friends hanging around because they do such a great job, such as you. I mean, that flyer was really nice that you put out. And I just want to say thank you for having me this morning and giving me the opportunity to speak to your people on your platform. And so I am so appreciative of it. But I am Jacqueline Makins-Golden, aka Educator Extraordinaire. I have been in the education arena for over 25 years, and I have done multiple things in education since then. Not only am I an educator, I am an entrepreneur. I have a family-owned business with my sons that I absolutely love, and started this brand new journey here about 2 years ago. And so I am so super excited about the golden code. And so as the educator extraordinaire, my goal is to bring everything educational to all types of learners. And so because I have the opportunity to reach multiple people in the different facets of things that I actually do as an educator. And so my business, my family-owned business, we reach the population of the hair and beauty industry in CE education. And we cross over into 5 states. That's Washington, D.C., South Carolina, North Carolina, Georgia. And so in reaching over into those states, so it gives us an opportunity to touch the lives of so many different people. So I'm not new at this game of education. I always tell everyone, if you cut me, I'm going to bleed education and entrepreneurship because I come from a family of educators and entrepreneurs. It is what we do, and we do it quite well. And so, I'm so thankful, and I am blessed that God has given me an opportunity to truly live my dreams. And not only just me living my dreams, but to be able to take other people along with me, and the other people are, my family, my friends, my audience that I have. I just recently received some information on Facebook. Someone messaged me, and I'm telling you, she blew my socks off in what she said, the encouragement. She said, that I have provided her with, the inspiration, doing my courses that she has taken, how it has helped her to raise her level. And so, I take pride in that. I take pride in providing, the best in education that I can give. And guess what? If I can't do it, I got some friends who can do it. And so that's what I'm excited about.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. And you say over 25 years, and what are some of the different roles and capacities you feel in our educational system? Talk a little bit about that. And I know we definitely have to get into the entrepreneurship piece because that's my favorite subject as well. But as an educator in our school systems, what are some of the roles that you filled in those capacities?
So some of the roles that I have had, you know what? It seems like I have taken some of the positions that no one else wanted. And
Mm-hmm.
then when I got in the positions, everybody wanted it. You know, I just thank God. So I started out as a work study student in college. And so to be quite honest with you, Cortez, I was just telling my high school students how that one college course set me up to where I am. And we'll talk about that when we get to Connie. So remind me of that piece, okay?
All right.
It was, be a work study student. And then from a work study student, I had the opportunity of working with a community college as a international advisor. And so in that, my responsibility was to bring in international students from other countries. Okay. So no one wanted that position. So that's how I got hired full time. And so in doing that and going to some training, I had the opportunity to meet students from all over the world because they literally had to come through me in order to apply to the college, in order to be received in the college. And so in that position, I learned some federal, state, and local regulations that I had to literally live by. It was like my Bible. And so that was like the setup. And then I started facilitating classes, which I have always been facilitating classes. I got my first teaching experience, like many people, right in church as a Sunday school teacher, right at the age of 21. And someone seen that gift in me, that teaching ability that I have to break things down simple so that everyone can understand and feel a part. That is what education is all about. It's about feeling a part. So that's where I got my start from in higher education. I went on to supervise online education, had a team there, and then I went back for more education. I hold a double master's degree in management and HR, and so voila, and I'm in high school now. So I have had a round of it, and then too. I teach a class in the state of South Carolina, a certifying class for licensed professionals to become educators. So I have professional students who are educated in the current school district that I'm in, and then in other school district areas. So I have an array of education.
Love it. And I think that is a very underrated skill, is when you can take a complex subject and then break it down into bite-sized, manageable pieces where anybody can get it, right? I try to make sure that the things that I do, if a third grader can't understand it, then I haven't done my job of simplifying it enough. So when you started the family business, tell us a little bit about that, what you guys do as a family, and how important do you think it is for us to really start teaching and preaching entrepreneurship in our households and getting our children involved as early as possible? What is your take on that?
Look, it is so very important. I'm like anyone else. I'm just going to be, honest. I had, when I opened up, so I have had multiple businesses, that's what entrepreneurs do. We do multiple business until we find that one that is the niche. And most people will call us jack of all trades and things like that. But you know what? We're not jack of all trades. We can't help because we're so blessed to be so multifaceted and that we have so much to offer this world. So my business that I do is, and how I got started in that. What most people don't know is that my first life is as a licensed cosmetologist. I absolutely loved it, enjoyed it when I did it. It was super great. But I had an urge to go back to school just for more education. And so little did I know was that I would leave the community college in 2007, and I started my own business. And so in starting that business, that's how I got to be a CE provider for the state of South Carolina. And I just want to say, I am the first Black-owned CE provider in the upstate of South Carolina. So
So what does that mean to be a CE provider?
What that means is that you have the opportunity to offer continuing education to licensed professionals who have to have continuing education to renew their license. So that's what that means. And so I've been offering those classes for 12 years, since 2008 or so. And so I grew the business. And so now my sons are in the business with me. And it's so very important that we teach our kids and let our kids hear about our business. And so I'm going to be honest. So I was at the point of burnout with the business. And I had a conversations with my sons to let them know I'm at a point of burnout. One end of the business, I know I'm going to keep. The other end, it can, we don't have to do that. And so, and in having that conversation with them, they were like, no. And I said, well, okay, you all want to join me, become my partners? And they were like, yes. And those guys are super bad. Okay. Those guys are super bad. I have to brag about them. The youngest one, he came in and he crushed me, because when it's your baby, you don't want to hear anything about your baby because your baby is so cute and, and everything. So, right. But he's saying some things that he said, Mom, you know what? We can do better. And so in that partnership with us, we had to learn to find out what role each person needed to play and let that person play that role in order to move us forward into this 21st century. So what he did, he took the business and brought it into the 21st century. The first thing he wanted to strap was my website. And actually, I was at the point. Let's just face it. I was at the point I was ready to strap that website, Cortez, because I had built it. And let's just face it. It was time to have the professionals to totally revamp. So that's that family business. And then I got to do the oldest one. He's the sales guy. He's the master number guy. And he makes sure everything is correct when it comes to the numbers.
Good. Love it, man. I think it's so important that, we think about legacy. We think about the things that will last and live beyond us, right? I did an interview with one of the wealthiest people in the St. Louis metro area, Mike Roberts. And he said somebody asked him, because everything that they do, they put their names on it, right? They got the Roberts building, they got the Roberts Hotel, they got the Roberts this, the Roberts that. And he said everything they do, they put their name on. He said he had another Black man ask him, man, what is your problem? You got some sort of ego problem? You put your name on everything? He said, listen, you don't say that to Mr. Marriott. His name is on all of his hotels. You don't say that to Mr. Hilton. His name is on all his hotels. You don't say that to Mr. Sheraton. So I think thinking about legacy is critically important. And I love the way you brought your children in and let them find a lane that they could be successful in and growing the business. So real quick, guys, we're going to take a short break. But on the other side of this break, we're going to get into how do we bring technology to our children in a fun way that will allow them to not only learn it, but be excited about it so that they want to continue in it, because we know that technology is the future. And if we're not building our children to compete globally, then we are doing them a disservice. So on the other side of this break, we're going to talk about the book that Miss Connie has written. Miss Jacqueline has written, which is called Connie The Coder. So keep it locked right here.
Hey, good morning, Wealth Champions. Hey, listen, if you want to be financially successful, then you have to do what financially successful people do. And I know there's a few things that all wealthy people have in common. Number one, they understand that building wealth is a team sport. Number two, they understand the power of capitalism and business enterprise. Number three, they love to use systems and leverage. And number four, they all have mentors. My name is H. Cortez, also known as Financial Health Mentor. And for the last 5 years, I've been helping hardworking Americans get all of these things in place with one single membership. If you want to learn more about that, go to myperfectmoneyplan.com. Again, that's myperfectmoneyplan.com. And you're going to get a team of professionals, so you're not building wealth by yourself. You're going to get a system that's going to help you transform your finances. And last but not least, you're going to get some great mentorship to help you execute your game plan. So again, go to myperfectmoneyplan.com, and I'll see you on the other side.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Cortez Hustle Show, Black Economic Empowerment Hour, with my very special guest, Miss Jacqueline Makins-Golden. And she's talking about her life as an educator and how she's built this business with her sons, and they are just crushing it in 5 different states, where she brings her continuing education classes to professionals so that they can continue doing what they're doing in the educational space. But then she goes out and she takes some of that knowledge, some of that passion, and she writes a book called Connie The Coder. So tell us a little bit about the inspiration for this book, where it came from, and all of that stuff, and what made you want to put this together and go down this road.
Here's Connie the Coder. What made me put this book together is, we put things together based upon, possibly something that we're struggling with ourselves. And so I was not looking, to be quite honest, to do a children's book. I have always known that I was going to do a book, but I never knew that the first book would be a children's book, and let alone a whole series, until, God gave me the vision and woke me up and said, hey, write the book. And I'm like, write what book? Your children's book. And I'm like, what I'm going to write about? He said coding. And I'm like, coding, really? And literally at that moment, which was last year, I wrote the first 5 pages of the book, and then I couldn't write anymore. And not only did I write the first 5 pages, but then he even gave me the names of the next 4 books. Wow. Which was so blown away I was. And it was just like I was caught in a writer's block. And I remember praying, and I was just like, well, Lord, I need to finish this book, and I want to finish this book. And then he allowed me to finish up this book during COVID-19. COVID-19 has been a blessing for me. And I don't want to minimize what has taken place in our world, but I had an opportunity to finish this book up. And in finishing up this book, this is what we have now, the hard version of the book. So Connie the Coder was written because of some things that I've experienced. The name of the book is called Connie the Coder, I Can Do Anything. And I think most people can relate to Connie the Coder, because if you have met someone, or people have come in your life and they have told you what you can't do, well, Connie is just the opposite. She is a very confident, sassy little girl who knows exactly what she wants. And so in the book, someone tells Connie what she can't be. And that's where the journey starts in Connie the Coder. And she takes the reader on a journey. I tell everyone, this is not just a book. I didn't even realize what all it was turning out to be until it hit me one day. And I said, oh my God. And it's because of all of the educational background that I have. This book literally put so many multi themes together. So not only will children learn about coding, they'll learn about history, Black history, and they will learn about math. They will learn about self-confidence. They will learn about team, collaboration. And so this book is an inspiration from my life. And, people have said to me what I can't do. And I thank God, I never set out to prove anyone wrong. I just set out to do what I know what God has truly placed in me. And so, this book is so inspirational, and my goal is to put it in every state.
Awesome. I love that. And guys, I put the link to the book in the comments there, and you get a 10% discount off just for checking us out on this show today. The coupon code is right there for you as well. You said something amazing when you said that you were kind of stuck at a place, but then COVID happened, right? And I'm like you, I don't want to downplay or minimize the suffering. People are losing lives, losing loved ones, illness is running rampant. And it is really wreaked havoc on our community. But at the same time, slowing down isn't always a bad thing, right? And that's kind of what I've heard that from a lot of different people is
Yes.
Most people have decided, and if you have decided this in the comments, I want you to let us know your take on this. But a lot of people have decided that they're going to come out on the other side of this quarantine better than they went in, with a new skill, with a new product, with a new business, with a new outlook on life, a new something. And it's good to hear that has happened for you. So now the book has been fully launched, and what are your plans with, this book, continuing to get it out there, and then some of the other books in the series that we can look forward to?
Yes. Oh, wow. So much has happened. And so what COVID-19 did for me was really slowed me down. I was ready for a slowdown, didn't know it would be like this. We got out of the rat race, and getting out of that rat race, literally God spoke to me and said, I have redeemed the time for you. And so, I put that in my Facebook, different things, and on my Facebook page, that God has redeemed the time. Not only did he redeem the time for me, but he has redeemed the time for many people. And so Connie the Coder has taken off to in multiple areas. And so just recently, God spoke to me and said, hey, ride the wave. And literally, I started working with my illustrator once again to start designing book number 2. And so what happened was that he sent me back the first illustration for book number 2. It literally blew me away. And it blew me away because I lost my mom in 2019, last year, who was truly my backbone, truly my shero, my hero. And to not have her here to cheer me on and to see, the good things, and I'll put the hashtag Daisy's Daughters, because many people thought Daisy's Daughters wasn't going to do anything, wasn't going to grow up to be anything. So, and I dedicated this book to my mom, and who is such a gracious woman. But to answer your question, Cortez, I'm sorry, but I got inspired there. So the book now has a workbook. It is a binary coding workbook. And I thank God for the team of people that he's put me with. And not only does it have the binary coding workbook that's coming out, it also has a teacher's lesson plan curriculum as well for Connie the Coder. So Connie the Coder now will have 2 companion pieces of additions that goes along with her, and because we have to break this thing down, and so the whole thing is to break it down for junior coders. So I have a membership that is called Junior Coders, and it is open up to boys and girls. And what that membership consists of is that I want to bring the world of coding to our young generation and to build a foundation. Let's just face it, everything is based upon fundamentals. Fundamentals is your foundation. And if you don't have a good, clear foundation, then anything else you build is going to be rocky. So I want to give the junior coders a great foundation with that membership. And we're going to be doing different things. I tell parents that this is like a tutoring session on steroids, okay? In that it's a membership that they're going to learn multi things. So we will be doing reading. We will be doing math. We will be doing history. We will be doing Coding, of course, would be a part of it. But what most people don't understand is that before you can code, you really need to have a good foundation in reading and math.
Gotcha. So talk about exactly what is coding for people who don't know. what that is, and then talk about the significance of that whole thing and why it's important that our children get that in their system and really understand it and get that as one of their foundational components. So what is coding and why is it important, and especially for our kids to start learning at a young age?
Man, everything we do in the tech world has coding in it, literally. Whatever you touch, the remote to your TV, your cell phone, coding is a language, a program that is behind the scenes of all electronic stuff. Okay, everything is run by some type of code just to make it easier to understand. And because it is a different type of language, that's what makes the difference. And our world is moving to tech heavily moving towards the tech field. And because it's moving towards the tech field, we need more Black children, and we need more Black girls in the coding field. So that's what Connie is all about. She's saying, look, I can do anything. And it starts at a ground level. Okay. And so when you start at that ground level, you're able to build. And here's why I'm starting at elementary. I'm starting at elementary because of my experience with my high school students. And when you're introducing something new to them, the first thing that they want to say is, oh, I can't do that. Oh, that's too hard, and I can get it and I can understand it because I remember going through my certification program. And yes, it is. It's a learning curve. So with Connie, it's starting at the ground level. Let's introduce it to them early so that they have a good, firm foundation. And then everything else is a building block. And that's what coding is. It's nothing but a huge, big building block. And it keeps getting better and better. And it gets better and better because we have people who have finite minds and keep pushing this thing to a whole nother level. Yeah. That's why our smartphones are able to do so much more. And this book is interactive. Take the smartphone, okay? And this book will take your children on a journey. Use the smartphone for good. I'm always telling my own children. They say, Mom, what about such and such? I say, well, you got a smartphone. Look it up, okay? Let's put that phone to some good educational use.
Yeah, I love that. And I think that's important because, and you're right, with older folks, it's a little bit difficult, because there's a lot more to unlearn to start relearning. But when you say that coding is a language, it's the same thing with any auditory language or spoken language. It's easier to teach children different languages while they are young. But when they get older, it's harder to learn a new language, and coding is no different. And I think you touched on the fact that it isn't everything. There's not anything that is done today that is not built by a computer, and that computer is run by a series of codes. And I think with us being some of the most creative people on the planet, when we get our children to understand the language of creating in the digital world, I think we're going to see so many more creative inventions coming out of this. But we got to get the language in the children because you can best believe that all around this world, they've got coding classes for their children. They're creating this as a language. So you have, I know in Asia, they teach English, Spanish, and coding all at the same time when those babies are young, when they first start entering into the school system, because that's where the world is going. And even if you don't do anything with the technology or with the coding in terms of building yourself, it's still a good thing to understand the language of coding, because like I said, that's where it's all going. So how has the book been received by the young people in your life, the people that you're introducing it to, people who are taking your coding class for the youngsters? Are they receiving it? Are they sucking it up? Are they getting the value, or is it just fun for them right now?
Actually, the Junior Coders has not started. It will not start until around the 1st of October. So now this is ground level, and I want to say to your listeners and everyone, get in on the ground level. And when you get in on the ground level, there are things that you get on the ground level that you don't get when you join in the middle or at the top. So don't wait for it to blow up to be big, because it hasn't started yet. Get in on the ground level, and it's designed to be fun. It is not designed to cause a headache for parents or for the child. Everything is designed to be fun. So the feedback that I'm getting, because the book has just been released just some weeks ago. So the feedback that I'm getting is that it's a wonderful book, and everyone just enjoys the cover of the book, and then all of the wonderful colors in the book. And so it takes them on a journey. And one lady was telling me, just how inspiring the book is. And that's what it's meant to be as well. So it's meant to hit on many levels because of the multiple themes that run through the book. And so I'm just super excited about the Junior Coders and everything, because of what I'm putting together, and then I'm bringing along some other folks with me. So it's not just me. It's going to be other people too in it. So we're building a foundation, and we're going to start that foundation. The month of October will be reading. And so parents will have an opportunity for on Saturday mornings, when we kick this thing off, parents will have an opportunity to sit their kids down for 40 minutes and listen to me and do some kind of activity. And then the month of November is when we're going to kick off the math theme, and I will be teaching binary coding in that math theme. So we're going to take 19 months to teach my workbook. So get in on the ground level. Why? One thing, the membership is low. Okay. The membership is $10 a month. Actually, it's $15 a month. I'm going to give you $5 off on your first month of being in the group, or you can pay a yearly membership of $50.
Nice. I love that. I love that. And someone said they didn't see the code. The discount code is SHOW10. And guys, I've got something special for anyone who goes out and grabs the book right now and come back and say, yes, I purchased, and Miss Jacqueline is going to be able to confirm that you purchased. Then I want to give you a 50% off code on all the digital products on my site. So that's just how we do it, man. I want this book to be a humongous success. Do me a favor, go ahead and smash that like button, because people need to know that there are people like Miss Jacqueline out there that are preparing our children for the next level. And you've got to be able to complete globally. I don't know why I'm struggling to say that. Compete globally, and you can't do that if you're not learning the power of technology and what this has to mean to our children. So, Miss Jacqueline, you've written the book. You've got the group coming out. You're going to be teaching, and I love that as an educator, you're incorporating all the other fundamentals, right? So if coding is a language, you have to learn how to read code, just like you have to learn how to read letters and numbers, right? If coding is a language, you have to know how to speak that language fluently. So you guys are going to be teaching that, and I'm sure there's some correlation to speaking the English language and all that kind of stuff. Then you got to understand the history of coding so you can bring it into the future of today. So there's your history lesson. And then of course, you're not coding anything without your math skills, right? So you got to have your math skills on point. So I think it's a creative way because our babies, man, they just don't know what's possible, right? When you tell a child that if you're playing this video game, right? But if you understand this language, then you can create this video game.
You can create the video game. And see, that's what I teach. So I teach coding for high schools, and I teach web design as well. So, I mean, you can be the one to create it, and I tell my high school students, although you're just getting the basic knowledge here, but this is a building block for you to literally be able to write your own ticket as a computer programmer, and that's what coding is all about. Coding is about computer programming, and computer programming has multiple different fields, areas that people can go in. Let me share this with you, because when I learned the statistics right here, it literally shocked me to my core. And that's when I started, when I went for the advanced certification. In the state of South Carolina, computer programmers only graduated at a 14%. 14%. They didn't have the numbers of the 14% who were actually African Americans. Let that sink in. 14%. That there is low. And here's what also happened in the state of South Carolina some years ago, when Boeing, the plane company, came to South Carolina, put one of their home bases in Charleston, South Carolina. They literally could not hire South Carolinians.
Wow.
Let that sink in for a moment. They literally could not hire South Carolinians for the higher paying jobs because they did not have the skill, the knowledge to run the machines. And when we're talking about machines, we're talking about the huge metadata machines that are used to make the different parts and pieces of everything. They had to hire about 80% of their workforce outside of the state of South Carolina. Now, go figure that, okay? I'm in the state of South Carolina. So we have to raise the level. And so that is what has happened, is that the state of South Carolina is saying, hey, we got to raise this level of computer programming here. We need more people to go into this field area. If not, the jobs of the companies that's coming here are going to continue to go to outsiders. So how can you raise the income level of the people if the people don't have the education that is needed? And most time people think the education too is a 4-year degree and all of that. Sometimes it is not. Sometimes it is that career center, that career technology certification that you got. And then you move on to a 2-year degree, a 4-year degree. So let that sink in for a minute. So my thing is, Cortez, I want to start with our babies, and I want to introduce our babies to this world on a level that they can understand and that they can build from. Because once they understand the language, they can do anything. And it's just what you said. It's all about a foreign language. Kids have to when they go to college, they need at least 3 credits of foreign language. Okay.
Right.
So why not introduce your babies to something that can set them up for a lifetime, can have them writing a ticket of their own, because that's how demanding this field area is. And it's only going to become more demanding because technology is advancing at a very fast pace. And you got to have the workforce to be able to keep up with that very fast pace. So that's my whole goal.
Yeah, it's moving at light speed, guys. And I didn't know that about Charleston, South Carolina, because we will see it here and see our politicians lobbying to get big corporations to come into our areas. And then our areas don't even benefit because the people who live in our areas aren't even prepared to take on all of the jobs that they're bringing. So imagine, hey, what was the percentage of people had to? 80% of the people had to come from outside of South Carolina.
From outside of South Carolina, and the
so
people,
you have
the people that they hire. Hold on, the people that they hired, Cortez, were not for the high paying jobs. Okay. So
Wow.
let that sink in for a moment now. The people that they hired were not for the higher paying jobs. Okay. And when I'm talking higher paying, I'm talking the low 5 digits to the high 6 digits.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So because that's what
So,
programmers can demand. Okay.
right. That is crazy because you think about it. If we see it in the headlines all the time, in St. Louis, we're building a nice, small tech hub over in our central west end of the city. Square is over there. Microsoft has come in and put a spot over there. I think Google is over there now. And you think about these big time giant tech companies coming in, but if you don't have the qualifications, then when we see in the headlines, hey, Microsoft coming to St. Louis, they're bringing 2,500 jobs. We're like, yay. But they don't tell you in the subtext that 2,000 of those jobs require this certification in coding, right? And most of us don't realize the importance of science, engineering, math, technology, all of those things have got to be emphasized with our children, or otherwise they're going to be able to work for these companies, guys, but they're going to be working in the janitorial staff. They're going to be working in the kitchen, cooking we want our children to be able to be in position to get the high 5 figures and the 6-figure positions, guys. And like you said, it doesn't always take a 4-year degree. A lot of times you can start with a certification, get in the door, get yourself a decent base salary so you can cover your basic necessities, and then you can go to the 4-year degree to master that certification, or you can add certifications on top of other certifications. And man, it's just an amazing thing. J Miles says certifications are definitely a better way, in my opinion, because that's where you're going in IT. Right now, we don't poo-poo college. There are different areas where that is a benefit, but right now, a high school kid who cannot afford to go to college, whose parents are not in position to borrow $50,000 for them to get a 4-year degree, right? That same child can go into a certification program for a few $1,000s and come out ready to get an entry-level job at $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 per year. Am I right, Jacqueline?
Not 30, 40. We're talking 60. We're talking 60 and on up with the certification. And just depending how many certifications they're willing to get. In my school district, they have a certification for high school students called Megatronics. Megatronics is huge in my area. And so what that means is that particular child can go to the local career center, learn megatronics. While that child is learning megatronics, that child is being scouted by some of the big name companies here in the area, BMW, Michelin, Bowen, all over. And they literally come out with the high 5 figures, somewhere between $60,000 and $70,000, just depending on all of the certifications that they are willing to get. So here's what Megatronic folks have told us. We need kids who are willing to learn and kids who won't run away from math, algebra. Our kids has got to stop running away from the things that they think are hard and learn how to master them. So that's the whole goal with Connie. We're going to be introducing some new things, and we want our kids to learn how to master them young. Can you imagine having your daughter to start in the junior coders and they're beginning to learn more things about reading? Reading too is another level of deficiency. And you was talking early about if you can break things down to a 3rd grade level. And that is super great, because here's what we know in the nation. Most average people can only read on a 5th grade level. Okay. The comprehension is pretty much at a 5th grade level. So to break it down to a 3rd grade level, then you are going to be reaching a multitude of people. Well, look, I am saying with junior coders in reading, we're ready to raise the bar. See it as a tutoring session in reading. And that child is learning how to read and introducing to different and multiple reading materials that they can learn. It's all about exposure. That is what the goal is. We're just going to expose these kids to multiple different things. It is not about getting it right or wrong. That's not what it's about. It is about exposure. It is about, once again, fundamentals. We're going to introduce them to the fundamentals that's going to set them up. You know, and I believe that it's going to be a super great opportunity from them. I am looking forward in a year from now, hearing parents say, hey, my child started out with junior coders and they wasn't quite reading on reading level. And now they are reading on reading level, because I will start a new program next year, and it's just going to be for girls, coding, and it's just for girls. And those girls have to be on a higher reading level, because I'm going to be doing some different things with the girls for coding.
Well, I want to give you an opportunity to thank Mr. Anthony Munoz personally, because he said, I just purchased powerful stuff. Well, thank you, Anthony. And make sure you take down my email address, or you inbox me on Facebook. I'm going to put my email address in here now.
Thank you.
Email me a copy of proof of purchase, and I want to make sure I get you that coupon code for 50% off anything on DauntonOnlineMarketing.com, all the digital products over there. So make sure you email me to get that coupon code as well. And here's the other thing that I wanted to mention is you talked about getting the kids involved, right? And I think our children are running away from math because we're dangling the wrong carrot, right? See, we are dangling a carrot in front of kids who see wealth and money being made all over the place. And we're dangling a carrot that says, I got a job, right? For you. If you learn math, you're going to be able to get a good job. And I don't think that's the right carrot. But I think what you're doing, introducing coding at an early age, saying, hey, this is the language of the future. You can build anything if you learn, right, math and you master this, right? Think about the kid who's in robotics and they are really into it and they love it. If we introduce them robotics and then they say, hey, let me see if you can break this apart and put it back together, or let me give you the components and you can build it on your own. And now they start tinkering with that thing and they really fall in love with robotics. And then you say, you know what? In order to really be able to master building robots, you have to master algebra and calculus and some of these formulas. I think our children would do a better job if they understood the correlation between mastering this and what I can do with it. Some of the things that I don't like about the school system is you got to learn it because it's required to graduate. And we look at people who have not graduated and they're millionaires, right? But if we say, listen, I see you have a love for computers. In order to really take that passion to the next level, then you might want to master your mathematics. You might want to learn coding. You might really want to learn the benefits of science and that kind of thing, right? And I think dangling the wrong carrot is what got our children running away from math, because we know that whatever they like, no matter how hard it is, it is not easy to understand a blocking scheme and to memorize a 75 playbook for our junior high school football kids, right? That's not easy to do, but because it is something they're passionate about, they do it. And we can figure out what passion we could tie mathematics to that the children have. I think we do a better job of helping them to master mathematics. My son is in engineering school right now because he loved it. So he always knew that math was going to be a huge component, and that's what it is. So now I'm thinking, man, he wants to be a mechanical engineer. I'm like, brother, let's get you some coding under your belt at the same time. Right. My guy Jay says, listen, he said, I got my Microsoft and Cisco certification 18 years ago, and got a job at Compact Hewlett Packard. Then my 2-year degree came later.
Right.
And I don't think there's enough people talking about the power in that, Miss Jacqueline. So we are rounding out the top of the hour. Anything that you want to say and tell everybody how they can connect with you and all that good stuff?
Yes. You know what? Earlier, I told you I would go back to learning computers, on my college level. And so, I recently shared with my high school students this year going back to school, is that little did I know that one college level computer class would set me up to where I am. And now that I'm the author of this coding book, it's a STEM's book. Okay. And so, little did I know. So I try and tell my high school students, don't despise small beginnings. Literally what I am teaching you here in this classroom, you don't have to go get a job at McDonald's, at Chick-fil-A, or whatever. You can become an entrepreneur right away by creating things for people who need different things created, such as websites. My first business was called Main Events, and I did wedding planning, and I created everything for my bride's wedding, all the way down, even some of the invitations and stuff if we didn't order them. That's because of my computer skills that I have. And so, this is an opportunity for everyone to take the information and to truly learn from it. I want you to buy a book. I want you to buy a book, and I want you to put the book in the hands of some little boy or little girl so that they can begin to dream, so that they can see that what someone said was impossible, but is truly possible, and that they can do anything, just like Connie the Coder. And you can catch me on Facebook under Educator Extraordinaire, or you can catch me on Instagram at Connie the Coder. Most people are calling me Connie. People are hitting me up in my box saying Connie, thinking Connie is my name. It's not. I am Jacqueline Makins-Golden, and I'm okay to be confused with Connie, because Connie is my third little girl outside of the two daughters that I have. And what tripped me out about this whole book is, the journey that my family went on with me. And when my youngest daughter began to read the book, and she said, "Mama, you are so wrong." I said, what do you mean I'm so wrong? She said, "That book should have been named after me. This book is written about me." And I can see her in Connie, because she is definitely confident and she is definitely sassy. Okay. So that's the beauty of it. So the goal is, hey, we want to develop some more coders, and we want to start that foundation at the bottom and build it up.
Absolutely. And the last thing that I want to touch on, guys, is all of these big time companies also have these diversity programs that they can't even fill, because we're not pushing this to our young people. They've got billions of dollars that says, hey, if you would just hire 4% of Black people in technology, minorities in technology, then we'll give you this tax credit over here, this tax credit over there. I know for a fact that a lot of these companies are saying we can't even fill that quota. There's money on the table for us, and we're putting the programs out, but there's not enough qualified Black people with these certifications that can come in on the level of our diversity program. So what you're doing is you're going to change all of that. You're going to create these situations where more and more people understand the power and the benefit of going through these certification programs. And not to say that you don't go back and go to college, but this is where me as a financial educator says, listen, you come out of high school with your certification and you go get you a job at $60,000, $70,000 per year, and then you go back to college and you pay for that and don't have to borrow money, Because if you're making $70,000 a year, you can go to the local community college, you can go to the local state college and pay $7,000-8,000 a semester. And you can do that out of pocket without having to borrow $100,000 and be in debt, because now you've got the means, because you went and got yourself a skill that can feed you and your family. And then most of the time when you go to school, after you've already figured out what you want to do, you're more likely to stay. Otherwise, you'd be like me, Jacqueline. I checked out after 2 weeks. I officially dropped out after 2 semesters, right? Because I didn't know what I wanted to do at 18 years old. I was in school because everybody said that's where I was supposed to be, right? But if I had a certification and I could have went and got me a $60,000 a year job, I probably would have seen the people making $120,000 a year and said, hey, what is it y'all do? Oh, well, I went on here and got me a 4-year degree, and now I got this level over here. Oh, I went and got me a master's degree, and now I'm making $200K. That's how that thing works, right? So
that is how it works, Cortez. That is how it works. Even my oldest son, he went off to the school, but you know what? He eventually said, Mom and Dad, this is not for me. And I can understand it now, because like I said, that guy is in his own lane. He is a super numbers guy. And, I wouldn't have it any other way, even though I'm always, because I'm an educator, let's just face it, I'm always saying, go back to school, pick up some kind of education, whether it is formal or informal education. And to the young man that says, he got that 2-year degree, I want to encourage you to go and get that 4-year degree. And move this needle on up, because I believe that there's great things in you and that you have a lot to offer in your arena. So don't stop with the 2-year, move on to the 4-year and move on to the master year if you so desire. So, it's a wonderful opportunity.
Awesome. Well, that brings us to the end of our show, ladies and gentlemen. You have been listening to and learning from Educator Extraordinaire, Miss Jacqueline Makins-Golden, author of Connie The Coder, I Can Do Anything. Make sure you guys click the links in the descriptions and in the comment section so you can get your book, get your 10% off discount code also in the comments. And if you so choose to go buy a book today, and then you hit me up with your proof of purchase, then you get 50% off all the digital products over at Thornton Online Marketing, as well as my way of saying I appreciate you for moving the needle forward and helping this book get into the hands of more and more people. So with that wraps up the Cortez Hustle Show Friday edition, which is all about Black Economic Empowerment Hour. Until next time, we want you to get your money up, because you absolutely can do it. But more importantly, you deserve to do it, each and every single one of you. Now hustle up.
Yes. Thank you.